She lived behind glass walls, protected from the world, but no one told her the real danger would come from the man standing right beside her. He was hired to guard her, not love her. She was forbidden, untouchable, and everything he could never have. But one night changed everything. Will love protect them, or destroy them both? Keep reading this intense and emotional love story that blurs the line between duty and desire. The first time Elena Monroe saw him, she felt it, that sharp, inexplicable pull in her chest. He stood by the marble staircase in silence, a tall wall of muscle dressed in all black, eyes hidden behind tinted shades, expression carved from stone. He didn't smile. He didn't flinch. He didn't even look at her. But she felt him. And she hated it. "This is your new head of security," her father had said, proud and firm, as if he were presenting a new weapon rather than a human being. "His name is Cole Hart. Former Special Ops. He'll be with you at all times." At all times. It sounded like a punishment. Elena, the 22-year-old daughter of one of New York's most powerful senators, was used to men following her around. But they usually looked away when she stared. Cole didn't. He held her gaze like a challenge, like he could see right through the designer dress, the expensive perfume, the fake smiles. She hated how calm he was. How still. How alive he made her feel. The rules were clear: he would protect her. Not talk. Not interfere. Definitely not get involved. But the problem wasn't him. The problem was her. Elena had spent her life in a world full of cages: political image, perfect daughter, fake friendships. Her father's power kept her in the spotlight, but also locked her down. Cole, with his cold silence and haunted eyes, felt like the first person who didn't want anything from her. She tried to provoke him. "You ever smile, soldier boy?" she asked one day, leaning against the hallway wall as he stood guard by her bedroom door. Cole didn't move. "I'm not paid to smile." She grinned. "What are you paid to do?" He looked at her then, finally, those stormy gray eyes slicing straight into her. "Keep you alive." God. Why did that sound so hot? He was disciplined. She was chaos. He was boundaries. She was temptation. Every moment stretched like a wire between them, tight, dangerous, and ready to snap. At charity galas, he stood behind her like a shadow. At night, he waited outside her penthouse suite, unmoving for hours. She could hear the soft click of his boots through the marble hall. He became a part of her daily rhythm, like a heartbeat she couldn't stop listening for. And the truth started to eat at her. She wanted him. Not in a polite, flirtatious, "look at my pretty bodyguard" way. No, she wanted him. Raw. Real. The man underneath all that control. She wanted to know if his lips were as firm as his rules. If his hands could protect her and still make her forget every damn thing that ever hurt her. But that line between them, it wasn't just drawn. It was carved in stone. Crossing it meant risking everything: her reputation, his job, her father's wrath. So, they danced in silence. Glances stolen in mirrors. Fingers brushing during an elevator ride. Her voice softening when she said his name. His jaw tightening whenever someone else flirted with her. One night, in the back of a black SUV, Elena leaned too close, just to test him. Her breath hit his neck, her hand resting near his on the leather seat. "You ever break your own rules?" she whispered. His reply was ice and fire. "Only when they're worth breaking for." She didn't speak after that. Neither did he. But the air between them screamed with everything left unsaid. Cole kept his distance after that. Tighter. Colder. Because he knew. She wasn't just his assignment anymore. She was temptation wrapped in silk, fire in a gilded cage. And he was starting to want the one thing he could never have. The storm hit harder than anyone expected. Thunder cracked above the Manhattan skyline as rain battered against the windows of the Monroe family's private lakeside estate. Elena hated this place, too quiet, too lonely, but it was where her father sent her whenever political heat rose in the city. Cole, of course, came with her. "I don't need a babysitter," she had snapped earlier when the security team insisted she stay inside due to threats her father had received. "I'm not a child." Cole had only said one thing, then stop acting like one. That one sentence had hit her like a slap. And maybe, deep down, she needed it. Now, she sat by the fireplace in an oversized hoodie and silk shorts, pretending to read a book. But her eyes kept drifting to him, standing by the window, soaked from doing another perimeter check. He peeled off his wet jacket, muscles tense under a tight black t-shirt. His hair, usually neat, was messy from the wind. His presence filled the room like a storm of its own, quiet, brooding, dangerous. She tried to ignore the pounding of her heart. "You're always watching," she said softly. "It's my job." "No, it's not just that." Her voice lowered. "You watch me like you're afraid of what might happen if you don't." He turned slowly, eyes narrowing. "What are you doing, Elena?" "I don't know," she whispered. "Maybe I'm tired of pretending." She stood up, walked toward him, slowly, like approaching a wild animal. She could feel the electricity crackling between them, more intense than the storm outside. His jaw tightened. "Go back to your room. I don't want to be alone tonight." "Elena," he warned, but it was too late. She was standing inches from him now, looking up into those stormy gray eyes. Her fingers reached for his chest, trembling, unsure, but the second she touched him, it all shattered. He grabbed her wrist, holding it in place over his heart. His breath came out sharp. "Do you know what you're doing?" "No," she whispered. "But I know I feel safe with you. I know you look at me like I'm more than just a job." That broke something in him. He let go of her wrist and pulled her closer, roughly, like he'd been starving and finally gave in. His lips crashed onto hers with a force that left her dizzy. It wasn't soft or slow. It was desperate. Real. Every inch of restraint he'd carried snapped in that moment. She clung to him like he was the only solid thing in a world full of lies. Clothes hit the floor. Gasps filled the silence. It was fire meeting gasoline. But it wasn't just lust. Not anymore. It was something deeper, raw, flawed, human. And when it was over, they didn't speak. They just lay there, on the floor in front of the dying fire, wrapped in the weight of what they'd just done. Cole brushed a strand of hair from her face, eyes softer than she'd ever seen them. "We crossed a line tonight." She nodded. "I don't care." But he did. He knew what this meant. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a beginning. Or the start of the end. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, so did something else, something neither of them could name yet. The morning after wasn't quiet, it was dangerous. Cole was gone when Elena woke up. No note. No message. Just the cold imprint of where he'd laid beside her, already fading. Her body still hummed with the memory of his touch, but her heart, it sank. She walked into the hallway of the estate, expecting things to feel different, expecting him to be different. But when she saw him, standing by the kitchen entrance, his face was stone again. Walls back up. Mask on. Like nothing had happened. "Don't," he said as she approached. Her eyes narrowed. "Don't what? Talk about it? Pretend it didn't mean anything?" His voice dropped. "I'm not pretending. I'm protecting you." "From what? My father?" She scoffed. "He controls everyone, Cole. He doesn't control me." He looked at her then, for real, and something in his gaze felt like goodbye. "You have no idea what he's capable of." That sentence landed heavy, but before she could ask more, the housekeeper interrupted them with a tray of coffee and a pale face. "Miss Elena, there's something you should see." On the breakfast table lay an envelope. No name. Just her family's crest wax sealed on the flap. Elena opened it with a shake in her hands. Inside was a photo. A grainy surveillance still, of her and Cole, tangled together in front of the fireplace. Her face. His body. Exposed. Undeniable. She couldn't breathe. Her father's note was attached beneath it. "I warned you once. You disobeyed. Now you'll learn." The world spun around her. Who took this?" she asked, voice cracking. Cole stepped forward, jaw clenched. "It's not from the estate cameras. It's private surveillance, likely hidden in this house. Which means someone wanted to trap us." "Someone," she repeated. "You mean him, don't you?" Cole didn't answer. She turned to him, stepping closer, searching his face for something, anything. And that's when she saw it. That flash in his eyes. That guilt. "What are you not telling me?" Her voice broke. "Cole." He exhaled slowly. "Before I became your bodyguard, I worked security for your father. I took orders. No questions asked." She nodded slowly, already dreading the next part. "He hired me to watch you. Not protect, watch. Monitor who you met, what you did, who you slept with." He looked away. "He thought you were reckless. A liability. You knew this, she said, voice shaking. You knew this and still. I didn't plan any of this, he interrupted, pain etched across his face. But the more I watched you, the less I could follow those orders. You weren't what he said. You were everything he couldn't control. And he stopped. I fell. Tears burned her eyes. So you were a spy. I was. Not anymore. But that night, was it real? Her voice was barely a whisper now. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked toward her, grabbed her hands gently, and placed them over his heart. Elena. That night was the first time in years I felt like a human being. Not a weapon. Not a tool. You made me feel like a man. Her heart cracked open, raw and confused. I didn't lie about what I felt, he said. But I should have told you the truth before it got this far. You think, she snapped, jerking her hands away. I gave you something I've never given anyone, Cole. And you gave me surveillance reports? I was trying to protect you. You were protecting yourself, she yelled. Silence. Then she turned away, storming back to her room, clutching the photo in her fist like a wound. She didn't want to cry. But she did. Because the man she had fallen for was the one person who should never have touched her in the first place. The days after the truth unraveled were cold. Not just in the weather, but in Elena's silence. She didn't speak to Cole. She didn't look at him. Not once. He remained in the house, guarding her like before, but the space between them had turned into a canyon of shattered trust. Each room they entered together felt like a graveyard. Every glance, every footstep echoed with what they had done. What they had broken. And then came the final hit. Her father arrived. Senator Monroe swept through the doors like a king returning to a kingdom gone wild. Tall, charismatic, and terrifying. Elena stood in the hallway, arms folded, eyes locked onto her father's with fire. I see you've gotten yourself into a mess, he said, voice like ice. She didn't flinch. You set the trap. Don't pretend you're surprised. He smiled bitterly. You always did like playing with fire. This time, you got burned. Don't talk about him like he's nothing. He is nothing, the senator growled, stepping closer. An ex-soldier with secrets. Do you even know who you gave yourself to? I know enough. Clearly not. That's when Cole stepped out from the shadows, calm, focused, but eyes sharp. He'd been listening. Watching. Senator, he said. If you have something to say, say it to me. The man sneered. You think you matter? You think what happened between you and my daughter gives you rights? You were hired. Bought. Like a weapon. And now, you're dismissed. He turned to his security team. Take his badge. His contract's terminated. 2 guards stepped forward. But Cole didn't move. I'm not leaving her unprotected, he said firmly. She doesn't need your protection, the senator spat. She needs obedience. And you're done following orders. Then Elena stepped in. If he goes, I go. Her father froze. What did you say? She looked him dead in the eye. You control everything. My life. My future. But you don't control who I love. The words felt like a bomb going off in the room. Cole stared at her, stunned. Her father laughed, humorless. Love? Is that what you call betrayal? It's what you'll never understand, she said softly. The senator's face turned to stone. You walk out now, Elena, and you walk away from everything. She hesitated. Her breath hitched. The house. The power. Her father's name. The security. And Cole. He stepped forward. You don't have to do this. I can go. She looked at him, her heart breaking all over again. If I let you walk away now? I'll never forgive myself. Then she turned to her father, lifted her chin, and said the words that cut the air. Goodbye, Dad. She walked away. No tears. No regret. Just strength. Cole followed her, stunned, silent. They left together, not knowing where they were going. No plan. No protection. Just each other. Later that night, in a quiet motel room far from the city, Elena curled up beside Cole on the bed. Her head on his chest. Her fingers over his heart. You think we'll make it? She whispered. He kissed her forehead, eyes full of war and softness. I don't know. But you're staying? She asked. Until my last breath. That was enough. For now. Because love, the kind that starts in fire and survives through ashes, doesn't need guarantees. It just needs choice. And this time, they chose each other.